This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
Welcome back to the Alice Stewart Show, 7:34 on a beautiful Wednesday morning. Coming up shortly, Congressman Tom Cotton will join us to talk about new polling data that shows him yet again in the lead. Also, the crisis on the border. What's the latest with that? Where's Senator Mark Pryor? And Cotton campaign has released a new ad. We will discuss that. We're joined right now with Laurie Lee, Republican consultant and strategist. And Laurie and I have been breaking down the new polling data from Public Policy Polling, and quite a few statewide, all the statewide races show that Congressman Cotton is in the lead. We just discussed the governor, lieutenant governor. Want to get down to some of the other constitutional offices, and we are at the Secretary of State's race. And the question is the candidates for Secretary of State: Democrat Susan Inman, Republican Mark Martin, and Libertarian Jacob Holloway. The election were today. Who would you vote for? Secretary Mark Martin, 39%. Susan Inman, 33%. So, Laurie, we're seeing a trend with the Republicans.
Yeah, and I think that trend is going to continue to be the gift that keeps giving here until November. I just don't see again how Democrats overcome the Barack Obama factor, the BO of the National Democrat Party.
Yes, pardon the pun, the BO. And the next race, looking at Attorney General's race, the candidates for Attorney General: Democrat Nate Steele, Republican Leslie Rutledge, and Libertarian Aaron Cash. The election were today. Who would you vote for? Leslie Rutledge leading 38%, Nate Steele 32%. And the last poll last week or a few weeks ago that came out, Leslie was ahead by 10. She still has a good lead here, 6 points ahead. Your thoughts on that?
I think that's going to be a good race to watch. You know, of course, Leslie and I are friends, so that's full disclosure there. Nate's been running TV commercials statewide for weeks now, and he's still behind 6 points. Nate's a great guy, but he's probably not got the name ID. And Leslie's going to make a fantastic attorney general. She's she's at 38 right now. And, again, this is a Democrat-leaning poll. She's not started any TV yet. She got a great punch in the arm with the name ID during the primary and runoff. And I really think that she probably wins well over 50%. Yeah, in November.
She got a big, nearly $1 million punch in the gut by outside money. It didn't stop her. She just took that and said, all right, let's move full speed ahead. Let's talk about the issues that pertain to the Attorney General's race. And she showed them, and that certainly helped.
And she didn't just slide by. I mean, it was an absolute huge win.
Right.
Well over 60%. So.
Yeah, and when you're outspent like that and you're able to come through, A, it shows a good candidate, and B, thankfully, it shows a smart electorate that looks beyond the hype that is being flashed up on the television screen and really looks at the truth and the facts of the matter. And that's hats off to the voters for that. Next race, looking at state auditor, we have in that race the Democrat Regina Hampton, Republican Andrea Lee, and Libertarian Brian Leach. And that poll shows Andrea Lee 35, Regina Hampton 31. Again, Republican in the lead there.
Yeah, and again, I think Andrea Lee pulls this off. She is definitely the one with the most experience. She's been a great legislator for 6 years, and she's out there hitting the campaign trail. And these races that we're fixing to talk about aren't big money races, not a lot of investment, but Andrea Lee's got great name ID. She's a known entity. She's an experienced legislator. And I'm really looking forward to her being in the auditor seat coming over.
And I think the key is, while these may be, quote, down ballot races, they're important. And in a time when we've had some issues with the past treasurer holding the treasurer's office, we need to make sure when we elect people that they have a good record, they have a good name, they have a good reputation, and that's critical in these constitutional offices. So do your homework on
and
these
another
folks.
thing that the voters of Arkansas need to recognize, especially if you are conservative, regardless if you profess to be a Democrat, Independent, or Republican, is if the Republicans hold the majority of the constitutional seats, 5 of them, we also get control of the committees on the county level, and so that's a huge bonus. And will help with a lot of things moving forward for the real issues that Arkansans are concerned about.
Right. And here we go. 2 more to look at. Treasurer's race, state treasurer's race, which is a critical role there in our state government. Democrat Karen Garcia, Republican Dennis Milligan, and Libertarian Chris Hayes. PPP shows Milligan 36, Garcia 31.
Again, the R's working with Dennis. Dennis is a great guy. He's going to pull this out at the end of the day. What is really telling, and this, kudos to the Libertarians for getting somebody on the ballot in all these races.
Right.
It really does throw a kink in it for the Democrat or for the Republicans. But again, with a conservative leaning party, you still have all the Republicans winning by a minimum of 5 points, which is huge. So particularly in this race, Chris Hayes has taken 10% of the ballot away from Dennis Milligan. You can safely say that all of those people would have voted for the Republican had there not been a Libertarian in the race. So for all these Republicans in these constitutional offices to have these leads with 10% outside of the Secretary of State's office is 6 for the Libertarian. These are actually really big leads.
Right. And I think the key is to do your homework on these folks. And we want to make sure that we have folks that are upstanding and keep the public trust intact. And I refer folks to Dem Gazette this morning. There's an article in there on Democrat State Treasurer candidate Karen Garcia. She is being investigated by the Arkansas Ethics Commission for possible violations of the state ethics law. And when you have that going on, that should raise a red flag.
It should.
Yeah, and so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But that's not something you need in an election, to have a candidate being investigated by the Ethics Commission.
That's probably a bad sign.
That is not good at all. Last one, want to look at State Land Commissioner, Democrat Mark Robertson, Republican John Thurston, Libertarian Elvis Presley. And John Thurston, 40%, Mark Robertson, 29%.
Again, he's up by 11, and with 10% to the Libertarian, he's going to walk away with the race.
Yeah, good polling data. I encourage folks to go. We have it on our Facebook and Twitter. You can see the public policy polling numbers. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, Congressman Tom Cotton joins us to talk immigration, as well as these new numbers and a new ad coming up right after this break. This segment of the Alice Stewart Show brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all of your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing, 1-866-PLUMBER, or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.